Hey everyone, what's up? Hobbs over here. Now originally, as well as all that, I was originally going to do this is just one video ranking all the Star Wars films, all 11 of the live-action films that have come out, into one video. Just rank them from worst to top, my own personal biased opinion. But I realized that I'm quite too passionate about this series to do that. Like if I talked about each and every single one of these films in one video, what I love about them and some things I dislike about them, like that would probably go on for a while. So I've decided to just make it into a video series, ranking the Star Wars films, and again, my own biased opinion, from worst to best, and in separate reviews. So today we're going to be starting off with the first one at the bottom of the list, number 11, the worst one in my opinion. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, before I begin this review and this whole video series as a whole, I just want to begin by letting you all know that once again, this is my own personal biased opinion. So, you know, some of these movies that you consider more god tier and spectacular masterpieces tend to fall lower on this list than you thought they would. Don't get upset. It's just my opinion. And yeah, you know, just know that I generally like each and every single one of these films. There's not one of them that I like, just generally hate. So I just want to let y'all know that too, right off the bat. There's just some of them that we'll get into that I think, of course, could have definitely been handled and executed better than others. But we're definitely going to get into that throughout these reviews. So yes, as I said, let's start off with number 11, the worst Star Wars film in my opinion, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now I know that a lot of people would usually, you know, rank The Last Jedi here, number 11, or Attack of the Clones, but no, for me, Phantom Menace is still the worst Star Wars movie. The reason that is, you know, mainly because since it's Star Wars, of course, you know, George Lucas, he wanted to aim this movie, this new prequel trilogy, to more towards children of that era, of that generation, which makes total sense. What doesn't make total sense is aiming a movie towards children of that era and then just shoving it full of politics right off the bat from the opening crawl. I remember you just reading about tax federation and stuff, and you know, it being the first Star Wars opening crawl that like bored me to death. I was like, what the heck? We're talking about tax federation and politics and stuff in a Star Wars movie? You're like, alright. So they have that in there, and some of it's cool, but it's too much. A lot of it's too much. And like I said, they shove it full of politics and still try to aim it towards children at the same time, though. So there's the comedic relief, we'll just point out the elephant in the room, of Jar Jar in this movie, unfortunately, who's quite cringeworthy to get through with his very childish humor, his poop jokes and all. But this movie does offer a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it's one of those movies, once you get past some of the boring politics scenes and the Jar Jar stuff, there is a lot of cool things in this film. I mean, there's a lot of really cool scenes. The pod race being one of them. Of course, Duel of the Fates being one of the best, if not the best, choreographed lightsaber battle of all time in the entire saga. So yeah, there's definitely cool things in the movie, though, once you get past all that stuff. And they do pretty well with the casting in this movie. I felt like I loved Ian McGregor's Obi-Wan in these movies. I mean, who doesn't? And I thought the child that played Anakin did an alright job. I don't think, you know, he did great, but I definitely don't think, you know, he deserved the amount of bowling he got for the role. It was just, you know, ridiculous. And I did like the introduction of the droids in this movie. That was one thing I did really like. I liked how they introduced C-3PO and R2-D2. I like how they showed how smart Anakin was too, and again, really enjoyed that pod race scene. And they introduced also a lot of new characters that are also really interesting. But this is also where the movie has one of its biggest flaws for me as well, is because they introduce like these two new, cool, really intriguing characters, Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul. but then they hardly do like nothing with them, which is the shame of it. Because Qui-Gon Jinn, he's one of the coolest characters. One of the like, he's probably in the top 5 Jedi for me. He's like one of the coolest characters introduced, part of the Jedi Council, because he's like the first gray Jedi that we meet. One of the first, people that starts to see the holes within the Jedi Council and like even rebels against the Council we see in this movie. And, at times we even see, like, Obi-Wan, start to question his master. Like, I was, like, asking him, like, why do you rebel against the council? Like, not again. And, I just wish we could have, like, spent more time with that. Because he was an intriguing character. You get to see the flaws that he sees in the council and getting to see his point of view more. I wish we had spent more time on that, rather than stuff like Tax Federation. But unfortunately, again, because, I understand why he had to die, but I still wish and think they could have done a little bit more with this character. And speaking of wasted potential, Darth Maul in this movie, just the absolute definition of complete wasted potential. My gosh. Like, he's such an interesting character, too, when he's, like, introduced. And, he's talking to the Emperor, and he tells him, at last we will get our revenge on the Jedi. And you're like, oh, what's that about? Who's this guy? And you never find out. Just killed off in the first movie when I feel like he could have been the, the big bad of this prequel trilogy. But oh well. Yep, he was just killed off. But so thankful for Clone Wars though, for giving him an actual story arc. Otherwise, he would have probably gone down, in my opinion, as one of the like most wasted potential of like villains of all time. So thank gosh for the Clone Wars for that. Because if it wasn't for Clone Wars, this movie would have just completely trashed on the potential that Darth Maul had. So yeah, that's some of my problems in the movie. As I said though, there are some fun scenes to get through all that stuff. So there are elements, as I said, to enjoy in this film though, overall. One thing that bothers me though about the prequels, which we'll get into as this video series goes along, is some of the continuity errors that they introduce. Like, this is years before, several years before the original trilogy, and we see all this new stuff introduced that we didn't see in the original trilogy. That wasn't in the original trilogy, which is understandable. It's a different time, but like, there's so many continuity errors to some of the stuff introduced, and one of them that creates continuity error within this movie is a pretty big one to point out. Like, at the beginning of it, you see them use force speed. Force speed is something introduced in this movie. You see them use it at the beginning of the film. And then at the end of the film, during the Duel of the Fates, which, again, I still think is one of the greatest lightsaber battles of all time. But during that end fight scene, before Obi-Wan gets cut off by one of the red doors and has to watch Qui-Gon die, he's just running regularly, because he knows they're about to close, but he's just running regularly, hoping that he'll be able to make it in time before, one of them closes on him. But it's like, if he had just used force speed that he was using early on at the beginning of the film right there, he would have been able to aid and help Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon may not have even died. It's like, what the hell? Like, where was your force speed at, So it's continuity errors like that. It's kind of annoyed me, too, with the prequel trilogy that are introduced. And you're like, wait, so the Jedi have this ability? Oh, well, why didn't they use this then in the original trilogy? Why didn't they even use this now in the same movie? Like, later on. But, as I said, there's still stuff to enjoy in the film, though. So I don't completely hate it, but yeah, there's still some stuff there that's hard to get through. But overall, enjoyable film. Definitely give us one of the best lightsaber battles of all time. And the pod race scene is pretty cool. But yeah, let me know in the comments what y'all think of the Phantom Menace, and I'll see y'all here shortly next time for another video to find out what my number 10 ranked film is in the Star Wars saga. So yeah, I hope to see y'all then, and until next time, my rating for the Phantom Menace is 3 out of 5 Kyber crystals.